Fraction intelligence. Welcome to the show. Fraction intelligence. Minds about to blow. Fraction intelligence. Where the questions flow. Fraction intelligence. Now it's time to grow.
Fraction intelligence. Welcome to the unknown.
Gather around, get comfy, because today we're diving headfirst into some seriously mind-bending territory.
Straight down the rabbit hole we go, and believe me, this one's a doozy.
You got that right, the simulation hypothesis, right? The idea that everything we see, touch, experience, it's all part of some giant computer program.
Precisely. But, and this is where your source material takes a fascinating turn, what if I told you we might be trapped in a simulation of our own making?
Whoa, hold on, rewind that for a second. So it's not just some advanced alien species running simulations for kicks. You're saying we might have built this digital playground.
That's the gist of it, yep. Humanity, or at least some long-gone version of us, hit peak tech, created a universe so real they forgot it wasn't.
Okay, I'm already lost in the sauce here. For those of us who haven't quite reached level 99 conspiracy theory yet, could we back up a bit? What is the simulation hypothesis in a nutshell?
Sure. Imagine, right, that everything around us, this reality we take for granted, is just data. Ones and zeros running on some cosmic computer program.
Like a super advanced video game, but we're the characters in it.
You got it. Except in this game, we're not holding controllers, at least not that we know of.
Right. But if this simulation is so perfect, so seamless, we can't even tell it's fake. How can anyone even begin to say, hey, we're living in a computer program? What's the evidence?
Well, the source points to a few. Let's call them hiccups in the system. Things that don't quite add up if this reality is all there is, like little cracks in the facade.
Okay, hit me with a hiccup. I'm all about the juicy details.
Quantum mechanics. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, vaguely. It's that whole mind-bending realm where things can be in two places at once, right? Always messed me up a bit.
Right. Now imagine trying to program a universe down to the tiniest particle. It would take an insane amount of processing power, wouldn't it?
Makes sense. Rendering every single atom in existence. Talk about lag.
Exactly. So this source suggests maybe our universe cheats a little. Like a video game only rendering what you're currently looking at, it proposes that reality, at the quantum level, might only solidify when it's being observed.
Whoa. So it's like a cosmic game of peekaboo. Things only become real when we're paying attention. That's wild.
It is wild, isn't it? And that's just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Yeah.
The source goes even deeper, looking at things like those repeating patterns in nature, fractals.
Oh, yeah, fractals, those trippy spirals and branches that just keep going, smaller and smaller forever. Always found this oddly fascinating.
Right. Well, the source suggests that those fractals could be hints of the underlying code of our reality, like the building blocks of the simulation repeating on different scales.
Okay, now that's just cool. Quantum weirdness, fractal patterns.
Yeah.
Any other evidence for the we're living in a simulation crowd?
Oh, yeah. They've got a whole arsenal of arguments. One that always gets me is the ancient megaliths. Structures like the pyramids.
The pyramids? You mean those massive, insanely precise structures our ancestors built thousands of years ago? Yeah, those are hard to explain.
Exactly. They're so astronomically aligned, so incredibly built with materials we can barely replicate today. It's almost as if
they had help. Like technology far beyond what we think they possessed.
Exactly. And this source, it throws out a possibility that'll really bake your noodle. What if those structures aren't just relics of a lost civilization, but messages from a previous cycle of the simulation?
Hold up, a previous cycle. Are you saying this whole simulation, it's not just a one-time thing?
Buckle up, because that's where we're headed next. Imagine for a moment that our universe isn't linear but cyclical. Like a cosmic record playing the same tune over and over.
A cosmic loop. Okay, that's a new one for me. But how would that even work? Do we all just wake up one morning with deja vu on a universal scale?
Well, the source material is a little fuzzy on the specifics, but the general idea is something happens. Maybe it's a particular alignment of celestial bodies. Maybe those quantum fluctuations we talked about reach a critical point.
So like a cosmic reset button gets pressed.
Exactly. And boom, the universe hits rewind. Now, what happens during this reset? Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Do tell. Do we all get blasted back to the Stone Age? Or maybe everyone just turns into sentient pieces of space dust for a while.
The source suggests it's more like, imagine a wave washing over a beach. Everything gets pulled back, reset, but there's still traces of what was there before imprinted in the sand.
Okay, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
So memories, knowledge, even entire civilizations, they could get carried over like echoes from a past life.
Precisely. It's like each loop of the simulation builds upon the last, adding new layers, new experiences, but also inheriting remnants from those that came before.
So those ancient megaliths, the pyramids,
Yeah.
Stonehenge, are you saying those could be more than just monuments?
What if they're messages from those previous cycles? Attempts to preserve knowledge, to warn future generations about potential pitfalls.
To break free from the loop, or at least leave breadcrumbs for others to follow? That's seriously mind-blowing. But, okay, let's say, for argument's sake, that we did create this super realistic simulation. Why wouldn't we just build in a way to escape? Hit the log out button when things get boring.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The source throws out a couple of intriguing possibilities. One is that we're talking about a level of technology so advanced, so intertwined with consciousness itself, that escaping might be more complicated than just pulling a plug.
More complicated how? Are we talking brain-computer interfaces on a whole other level here?
Imagine our consciousness, our very essence, being so deeply embedded in the simulation that disentangling the two becomes virtually impossible, like trying to separate two sides of a coin that were fused together in some cosmic forge.
So it's not just that we're plugged in, we are the plug.
In a manner of speaking, yes. It's a lot to wrap your head around. And then there's another, even wilder theory the source throws into the mix. What if we simply forgot?
Forgot. You mean forgot we're in a simulation, forgot how we built it in the first place.
Exactly. What if our ancestors, the ones who designed this whole thing, created a reality so convincing, so immersive, that they lost themselves in the game? They forgot they were ever holding the controllers.
Wow, that's some next-level existential dread right there.
It makes you think, doesn't it? And then there's the question of why build it in the first place. Was it an experiment? A form of escapism? Or maybe.
Well, don't leave me hanging.
What if the simulation isn't a utopia, but a form of containment? What if we're not meant to escape?
Containment. You're saying we might be prisoners in our own creation. Okay, now we're getting into some seriously dark territory. Prisoners in our own creation. Okay, my head is officially spinning now. Why go through all that trouble to trap ourselves? What's the source say about why we'd build our own digital prison cell?
Well, like a lot of things with this particular theory, the why gets a little hazy. The source does offer up some possibilities, though. One idea is that maybe our ancestors, the ones who built this whole shebang, they weren't trying to be malicious, but maybe they saw something out there in whatever reality exists outside the simulation. Something dangerous.
Dangerous? You mean like threats from beyond the stars, cosmic horrors we can't even comprehend?
Exactly. Or maybe something even stranger, something that defies our understanding of reality as it is. Whatever it was, the source suggests they built the simulation as a kind of protective barrier to keep us safe.
A cosmic safe space. Interesting. So it's not all bad then. I mean, if they're just trying to protect us, it still feels a little patronizing, though. Like they didn't think we could handle the truth.
That's a valid point. It does raise some questions about free will and all that, but there's another angle to all this, remember. The source suggests our consciousness might not just be in the simulation, but actually powering it.
Right. We talked about that. But I gotta be honest, that piece is still the fuzziest for me. How does that even work? Are we talking like brain power as a renewable energy source here?
Think of it less like energy and more like, well, imagine a symphony orchestra, right? Each musician playing their part, creating this incredible, complex piece of music. The source proposes our individual consciousnesses, our thoughts, emotions, experiences. They all contribute to the symphony of the simulation.
So we're all just playing our parts in some grand cosmic concert, unaware that we're the ones making the music. I mean, it's poetic and terrifying all at the same time.
Exactly. It challenges our whole understanding of reality, of what it means to be human. But here's the kicker. If we are the source of the simulation, even in some unconscious way,
then maybe there's a way to influence it, to change the tune, so to speak.
Precisely. The source suggests that by understanding our own consciousness better, by pushing the boundaries of what we consider possible, we might be able to glimpse the underlying code of the simulation itself.
Whoa, okay. We're talking like Neo seeing the Matrix for what it really is.
Think about it. If our thoughts and emotions can shape the simulation, even in subtle ways, who knows what we might achieve if we really tapped into that power?
Man, that is a lot to unpack. This whole deep dive has been one wild ride, from quantum quirks to cosmic loops, ancient mysteries to the very nature of consciousness.
It really makes you question everything, doesn't it? Makes you wonder if we're asking the right questions, even.
That's the thing about a good deep dive, though, isn't it? Sometimes you come up with more questions than answers.
That's how we know we're onto something big.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this mind-bending journey. For now, at least.
Until next time, right?
Exactly. To all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the simulation hypothesis. It's been a wild ride, and we're still reeling a bit ourselves.
Keep those questions coming, folks. And remember, reality is what you make it, or is it?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, stay curious.
Fractal intelligence. Welcome to the show. Fractal intelligence. Minds about to blow. Fractal intelligence. Where the questions flow. Fractal intelligence. Now it's time to grow.
Fractal intelligence. Welcome to the unknown.